What is Global Parents for Eczema research? It's a philosophy that patients and caregivers should have a voice in decisions related to care, research, and policy. It's a global support and information sharing network of parents. It's an active research organization, and it's a hope for the future.
Oh, pioneering.
So necessary.
Intentional.
Innovative and cutting edge.
Community.
I think it's a brain trust.
Evidence-based.
I have one word, and that's family.
Jeeper really started with my son, Elio. At around 9 months, he developed eczema. He was covered head to toe, almost looked like a burn victim. And he stopped sleeping. He was scratching all night. He had open wounds all over his body. We couldn't find evidence or research to support our decision-making, and we ended up using a trial and error approach with his eczema. It was chaotic, it was unfair to him, and it just felt like once his eczema was under control, that we can do better for these kids. Our network grew and grew over time, and today we are a global community of parents united to improve outcomes for our children with moderate to severe eczema and future children.
There is a tendency for patients and caregivers that struggle with eczema to isolate. So it's important to have a community. This organization has really become that network of support and ideas and sharing and brainstorming. In that way, it's very meaningful to me. It's really central to so much of really who I am now as a parent. And
it's empowering, giving parents visibility and the tools, to make a difference and to not just sit back and just be, passengers on the ride.
They provide this research-backed information that, you go on the internet and there are a million suggestions for eczema and it's a minefield. And you go to Jeeper and this grassroots organization has created a beautiful thing that we can trust.
Now it's become the go-to group of people to share, to learn, to have a dialogue. And it's just been so important to me. I'm incredibly passionate about the group.
It's driven by us parents and bringing in amazing dermatologists who have helped us on our journey, who have really listened to the things that we need as parents and really created this ripple effect across the world and brought us all together.
This is the place where I feel comfortable talking about my daughter, all the things we have been going through, and I feel that we have a connection. I feel this is my eczema family.
The effects on the families are huge. So it's not just a financial burden, it's emotional, it's sleep is out the window for many, many years. Our jobs are put on hold. Our kids are suffering constantly. School's a problem. Friendships, socialization, eating, it becomes a massive issue, all because of the eczema.
I constantly felt like I was failing my kids when we were first diagnosed, and I was a young mom. I didn't know what to do.
Caregivers need mentorship and they need support, and they need it now.
Jeeper took a closer look at the impacts of eczema on families. This information made us ask, how can we better serve caregivers? This is where the Support for Eczema Caregivers program was born.
Social support through other caregivers can help to provide that. We know that our research is showing that consistently. Other caregiver research also supports that, and we are excited, I think, to be able to launch this and create something that's sustainable and life-giving for people.
The purpose of the program is to bring together families who are feeling alone and match them with someone who knows what it's like to walk that road. And so in that way, we're creating community and giving connection and support, but also providing evidence-based resources for these families.
All those difficult feelings that come up in the caregiving experience, if you can give voice to that, to a person who understands, who can say, hang in there, or here's a strategy, or here's how I coped, or Gosh, that sounds serious. You might need to check in with a therapist.
Sometimes you feel invisible in the medical setting because maybe a provider is only looking at the skin and they're not really seeing the full picture of what's happening at home. So through the support program, these people have found that they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel validated in the struggles that they're experiencing.
One of the things that's unique about GEPER is that it marries this focus and care and compassion for patients and caregivers with a real commitment to looking at research evidence and collecting data that bears on the problems that eczema presents.
We use a model of research collaboration where parent perspectives and patient perspectives are married with the research perspective. So we really tap that lived experience that parents and patients have to inform the research. And then we bring the scientific rigor from the research community to those questions. And it's a collaboration that's really worked for us. Over the years, we've published lots of different studies and also developed the ability internally to do our own research.
GEPER is actually the one that's bringing forth the research aspect of it and making sure that parents are involved in the research, not just academically or at the institutional level.
I think they're really careful about looking at the needs of the eczema community and saying, where can we meet a gap? How can we be intentional about filling a particular space, about caring for this group and that group in ways that aren't already being done? And I think that's really novel, it's valuable, and to me it really feels like something that is so necessary. It's so necessary.
There are certain aspects of our agenda that require a systematic policy approach. And as a small organization, we know that to have an impact, we have to collaborate. We started a model of partnership back in 2019 with the first ever patient-focused drug development meeting for eczema, where we collaborated with 4 other patient organizations to tell the FDA and other key policymakers about the burden of eczema on families and patients. We were the chair and facilitator to a large study on the impact of eczema on life decisions in 2020, and we are currently the host organization for a global partnership of patient organizations who are united to measure eczema care and to improve it for patients.
I think it's going to be much better for kids in the future who suffer of eczema. They're going to have answers.
And I think the more people get together, the more they talk, the more they gather the resources and information, that we're just going to be such a formidable force, really.
We're all in this together to try to find, solutions and potentially, someday a cure.
Our vision is safe, effective treatments for every child who suffers from eczema, and a future where fewer children develop the condition in the first place. We are
global parents for eczema
research.
We are global parents for eczema research.